Hello, everyone. Welcome to Witchin' and Whining. I'm your resident witch, Miranda.
And I am your resident wino, Crystal.
And today's episode is all about paganism / witchcraft.
Yes, it's about the witches and the bitches that have accused them.
Yes, the witches and the bitches that have accused them.
So, for those of you who do not know, Miranda grew up in an actual coven.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to know all about it.
Okay. I will definitely start from what I could remember. All right. First disclaimer. The tradition that I grew up in is called the Narugd tradition. So every tradition, everybody's practice, they can be different. There's not one right way of practicing. So this is the way that I did.
So it's kind of like Christianity with all the different branches.
Yeah.
Paganism has its own branches as well.
Exactly. So, my branch was called the Narugd tradition. And I remember going to rituals, I think every month, and there were other families with other kids, and I always loved doing it because, we would, I don't know, it was a community. The first thing we would do is we would start off with what we called a meeting dance, and it's really quite cool because everyone stands in a circle and we face outwards and we grab hands. And then the person who would be leading the line, they would just be holding one person's hand, and then they would start like spiraling, making our circle into a spiral, and we'd be singing a song while we were doing this. And it's like the song that we sang, they weren't really words that we speak in English. It was just a repetition of a specific type of sound. But it was kind of upbeat, and eventually what happens is once the person who's leading, they spiral into like a circle, they'll turn around and start spiraling back out, and that's when we start being able to see every person. So during the dance, we're able to greet every person. You could choose to just nod your head, give a kiss on the cheek, a kiss on the lips in some cases for adults, but you would do that, you would greet every single person. And by the time
is so awesome.
And like we're all singing the same thing while we're doing this. And then by the end of the dance, we're facing inwards. You know how we started facing outwards?
Yes.
We would be facing inwards. And I loved doing it because I liked, greeting everybody. I would nod my head and I would smile. And then sometimes, I'd get a little peck on the forehead from like my parents or, my friends or something like that. Or one of my safe adults. So it might seem a bit weird that there was like unrelated adults to me. Not every one of them, but sometimes they would kiss my forehead. But I'm not gonna, like, some people might think, oh, it's so weird, it's a cult, it's like a sexual thing. No, it wasn't. Like, one of the men in this coven, his name is George, and I loved him. He was such a safe person to me. Such a safe person. Like, there was never anything untoward or whatever, And he was just like a fatherly figure. Because, you know what? My father wasn't exactly very fatherly and wasn't really nice or whatever. George was great. And it's funny because he had a particular smell about him. He always smelled the same way. I loved that smell because I just associated it with him. And it wasn't until I was an adult that I found out what that smell was called, and it was patchouli. So patchouli is my favorite smell even to this day, and I even realized, or somebody told me that patchouli is a scent that a lot of heavy weed smokers use to cover up the scent of weed, and that, that makes sense. That makes sense. But yeah, So yeah, we would start with a meeting dance, and it was great.
The chanting, it kind of reminds me of, since you're not saying anything in particular, you're doing sounds, it reminds me of meditation.
Yeah,
how
maybe.
you're kind of grounding yourself into bringing about a certain energy into the circle or the spiral. And that just seems like such a happy moment.
Yeah, it was a good way to start it. And I always loved the singing. It made me, like, the song, it was just, I mean, I could, like, sing it for you.
Yeah.
But it was very, well, there was real words in it, but yeah, here, I'll just do it so you'll understand, okay?
Yes,
Don't make fun of me.
I won't.
It was like, tow, tow, to tow, tow, throughout and about. Tow, 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 throughout and about. Tow, tow, to tow, tow, throughout and about. So we would just repeat that over and over.
Oh.
Yeah. It was fun. And then the next thing...
Wait, hold on one second. I'm just curious. Yeah. So were you born into this, or did your parents merge into this?
They merged into it because my mom, she had me when she was 14 years old. So she wasn't, like, pagan when she was 14, but it was really young. I want to say I was probably, like, 3 or 4.
Okay. And did you do rituals at your own home or just when you met with everyone?
Oh, like, for me personally? Yeah, I did my own thing sometimes, yeah.
And with your family at your home?
Not so much with my family, and I did a couple times with one of my friends, too, but mostly it was just for me. I don't think I would have felt comfortable doing it with just my family because my family wasn't really that safe. You know, I think I have fond memories of being in a coven because that was a safe place. You know, my dad was always on his best behavior. My mom was happy because she didn't have to, like, you know, deal with him. I don't know what it is. And then I had the friends and the safe adults that were there. So yeah, I had my own little altar in my room, and I did my own little things whenever I felt the need, and it comforted me. Because, you know, religion is really just to make you feel comfortable with life and death, you know? And that is something that did. Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Thanks.
Okay, so what would happen after the welcoming?
Then we would call the corners. And so we had different tools that we would use. So
sort of like that movie, The Craft?
Oh, yeah. Sort of like that one, uh-huh.
They actually had a real, I don't know if it was a white witch, but they had a real pagan on their set that guided them through everything.
Good for them for actually trying to go to authenticity.
Yeah. Because that was like an actual spell or yeah,
at this point it's not really a spell. At this point it's just calling in the powers that be, the powers that you want, to come into your circle and, like, protect your circle. Saying, hey, we are calling upon you because we want to, you know, I guess pray to you, for lack of a better term, and we're going to maybe ask something of you or whatever. So we would call in the circles, and then we would kind of, like, protect it. So nothing negative would be able to enter it. So, like, every corner had a different person calling it, and they had a different object in their hand to represent it. And then the next section, there was, like, incense. So somebody would say like a little chant with the incense. Somebody would say a chant with a sword and a wand. And then whenever we wanted to, like, finally, like, protect the circle, it was always like a staff, or like a giant staff. We protect the circle, and then our circle is closed at this point. Like, we are within our circle. The outside world is outside of the circle. And now we can get down to the business, you know, what we want to do, what we want to talk about. Maybe we're raising energy to help somebody get better because, you know, I remember one time we had a member who was really sick, and so we did a ritual for him, and we, at that point, raised energy to help heal him. I know it sounds so, like, hippie.
Well, it really doesn't. And some people out there might be thinking that, but for the Christians out there listening, if you think about it, it's just like having somebody come to the altar or the front of the church and everyone praying over them or laying hands on them and praying over them. the same thing. It's just not to the God that you believe in.
Yeah. You know what? And I'm going to say I do believe in God. I just don't believe he's the only one. But yeah, so the energy raising we would like have drums or things to make music or jingle bells, that sort of thing. And we would just be chanting, singing. Some people would be kind of like wailing beautifully, just to raise that energy and everything. But that wasn't like all the time. That was if we wanted something specific. But, at this point, like if we were doing this at like an equinox or, maybe around like Samhain or Yule, then we would kind of do something that pertains to that particular like holiday.
What is Samhain?
That's Halloween.
Oh.
Yeah. Easter is coming up, so we would call that Ostara.
And what would Easter be to pagans? I mean,
Ostara.
Well, I mean, you're not celebrating it because it was when Christ was risen.
Oh yeah. So no, yeah. So it's the rebirth of the sun god.
Oh, okay. You know what? That makes complete sense because anybody that has actually had world history and learned about religions, you're taught that Christianity really came from paganism that worshipped the sun god that rose on the third day. Mm-hmm. And I know people out there are going to get pissed that I said that, but I'm not pulling stuff out of my ass. Like, this is actual history and people get mad about it. But so that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. It was those kinds of, when we had the special rituals that were for like holidays and stuff, those are always super fun because we would also do activities or there might be a little skit or something. And then it was always fun for what we called Beltane. And I'm sure you've heard of Beltane. That's like a popular thing.
I haven't.
Oh, you haven't? Okay. So Beltane is pretty much the holiday for making babies.
Oh, there's a holiday for getting down.
Yeah, obviously I was a kid, so I wasn't involved in that whatsoever, but I was taught that, like, this is a time that the animals come out, they start having babies, and
so
the plants start growing.
Springtime?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, like, the plants start producing, like, they're fruitful, the plants are fruitful, or, like, like, plant them at that point, I'm sorry, because some of the stuff, like, you can't really harvest until fall. So yeah, it's just like, oh yeah, this is the beginning of life. We will start here. So if we're planting things, we're planting them now, I guess, impregnating the ground, if you want to say it. And then in a while, we'll have some, the fruits of our labor. Or if you were an adult, maybe you'd make a baby. I don't know. Or just practice.
So you're just going with the flow of nature.
Yeah.
I love that.
Exactly. And this is around the time where I started learning, well, I think maybe when I was like 7 or 8, when I started learning about different herbs. And again, there's a lot of like stuff, if you're on TikTok or something, you see a lot of people who are like, oh, make this spell jar, or, do this or do that. And they have a bunch of different herbs, and there's some like basis behind the herbs. Now, I'm not saying that herbs are all magical, that if you're going to make an herb jar and carry it around with you, that it's going to protect you from whatever. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I am saying that when we have a sore throat, what kind of tea do you drink? Mint tea, because it actually does soothe your throat.
Oh, not lemon. That's interesting.
Oh, I mean, lemon's fine too, but I'm just saying like
mint.
Yeah,
Herby.
Mint. Or if you want to sleep better at night, maybe you might drink some chamomile.
Yes.
Yeah, so I started learning about the actual real life attributes that herbs have.
So kind of like old-timey witches that, or quote-unquote witches that were healers in villages, which I'll actually talk about in my story, so it's really cool that you brought that up.
Yeah. So it was, so I got to learn about that, and I tried carrying that over into my adult life for like growing my own herbs, which here in the desert is unsuccessful if we're trying to do it outside because it's too dang hot. But and a lot of the new age stuff that's going on right now, they're not really using the herbs in that sort of way so much. They do sometimes, but mostly I just see it where they're like putting it in jars, and that's totally fine because it's your intention, right? It's just like if we're Christians and we're praying, you'll go pray, and maybe you'll have some prayer beads, or you have some like, a statue that you want to pray to. same thing. Somebody is going to make this jar that's going to help them focus their intention and to help strengthen their prayer.
And that's another commonality with Christianity is they see Wiccans or pagans, whatever you like to call yourselves, they see them making these jars or other emblems and things and saying that it's for protection or it's for this, and they think that's weird, but yet they will hold their cross out to ward off evil spirits and things like that.
Hold on, my kid is knocking. What? Hey, you don't have to tell me that.
The dog?
Bill has bad breath.
Maybe there's an herb for that.
Yeah, maybe there's an herb for that. The next part is my real favorite part. They called it sacred bullshit time.
No way.
And that the sacred bullshit time.
Hold on. Yeah. So did the kids say that? They're like, yay, let's go. It's sacred bullshit time.
No. 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 But that was a time where we would kind of take a break mid-ritual and we would eat. And we would, drink. We had snacks.
And shoot the shit.
And shoot the shit, exactly. People would just talk and, like, hang out and socialize and eat.
Yeah, who doesn't love food?
Yes, exactly. And then after that, then we're going to start closing out the circle, which means, like, we're releasing the corners and saying pretty much
thank you.
Thank you for being here. Now we're going to open back up to the world, but we're still, protected. We'll talk to you later, sort of thing.
Super interesting. Yeah. So,
and then...
sorry. No. You go right ahead.
Okay. And then this doesn't really to do anything with rituals. It's just like we had activities we do too. So like if it was around Yule or Christmas, we would make Yule logs, which I loved doing because we would get a bunch of foliage from like foresty areas, and we would attach them to a literal log, like a little log that you would burn in a fireplace. And then we just like decorate it, make it beautiful. And then we're supposed to keep those logs on our mantles all year round. And then come next Yule, we burn it and we make a new one.
Oh, and it's like releasing all that good energy you put into it, into your home. Or I imagine, maybe I made that up, but that's what I imagine. Mm-hmm.
And so there's little activities like that we would do throughout the year for the different
I want to know holidays. More about these little activities. That's exactly what I was going to ask you a moment ago.
Oh okay.
Like, what other holidays, activities did you do for holidays, and what were the holidays?
Okay. So I'm going to start with winter. So, of course, we have Yule. But before that, we have the winter solstice. Well, Yule, winter solstice. Sorry. But, like, what I'm talking about before that, winter solstice is December 21st. And then Christmas, everybody associates with December 25th. But for me, Yule, winter solstice, it was like the same thing. But anyway, so during that time, we would make our little logs and for an activity. But one of like the rituals that we did for that is because the winter solstice literally is the shortest day of the year. We have the least amount of sunlight on the winter solstice. So the tradition is to stay up all night.
Ooh.
Just to make sure the sun comes up. to stay through the long night. And then,
I bet that was like, one of your favorites as a kid.
Yeah, I would pass out. Like, I would not say, well, I would try. But I know the adults would stay up and, like, party. So all of my experiences are as in a child's perspective, not from an adult's. Unfortunately, by the time I became, like, an older teenager, the leaders of the coven, they moved to a different state.
Oh.
And so, it just kind of tapered off there, but I still held on to like the belief systems that,
I'm going to go on a tangent here, but then I want to come right back to where you were.
Okay.
So you said leaders. I want everyone out there to know that doesn't mean just because there's a leader that it makes it a cult, because guess what? If that's true, then Christianity and churches are just as much as culty as paganism, so let's not go there.
Yeah.
And they weren't controlling and controlled everything about your life, right?
No, so they did not.
Okay.
They did not. And when I mean leaders, I mean it was like the high priest and high priestess, the people who would like organize. But so they moved, and we had a couple of coven members move with them, like follow them there. So it just kind of like broke up at that point. I wish it didn't, and I always wanted to, like, you know, continue it on. I did get a copy of the ritual that we, like, the basic outline of the ritual later on in life, so I can, like, you know, utilize it myself. However, because, I mean, the Nauru tradition, there is, like a society of it, so, you know, if you wanted to become, like, a high priestess or high priest, you can't just be, like, declare yourself, I'm a high priestess, I'm a high priest. Like, you actually have to go through some steps before you could even get there. Like, there's a whole, like, initiation process too.
It's like if you want to become a preacher, you have to learn. You have to become a master of what you're doing.
Yeah, exactly. And which makes sense.
Right, exactly. Yeah, and you have to show that you have the ability. You can't just be like, you know what, I want to be a preacher. I'm going to stand up here and start preaching.
Yeah.
That's culty.
Yeah. Yeah. So you'd have to do classes, you'd have to teach classes. It's a whole thing, and I would love to go through that process, but when I looked it up online, there is no group close to me at all.
Oh, so, you could start one.
I guess, but then I would have to still go through the steps to create an established group, you know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm always trying to get you to move to Arkansas, and if you come here, I would gladly join you.
What?
I am all about nature.
Okay, so continue on, like, with the holidays that I remember. So, you know, we stay up all night for winter solstice. Then comes around Easter or Ostara, and that was fun too because I don't remember all the activities. I feel like it was different activities that we do about that time. But I do remember, like, seeing a bunch of skits and singing a new song. It's not new, but one of the songs that I loved to sing. I'm gonna sing it. So
yes.
It's about Persephone and Demeter. And so it's just, like, plain and simple. People know about Persephone and Demeter. So.
Were these gods that you guys worshipped, or?
Yeah.
Okay. So are these, like, old Greek gods that you worshipped?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Go on.
So Persephone, Persephone, maiden of the springtime, now's the day, you know the way to come back to the sunshine. Demeter, Demeter, waiting all the winter, close to the earth, all in green, her daughters come to greet her.
I love that one. That's so much fun. That would be one to skip rope to as a kid.
Yeah. So that was another song, and I liked it, and just thinking about what spring and the new growth and everything meant. Oh, and there was this one time, okay, we went on a hike at this place in California called the Devil's Punch Bowl, and before you think, oh, the devils, oh my god, no, it had nothing to do with, like, the devil. The locals called the devil, like, the wildcats who lived there in the mountains.
Yeah.
You know, the bobcats or mountain lions, all that stuff. So, not like devil. Anyway, so I think I want to say 8 or 9 years old at this point. And we go on this hike, and we are split off into groups because, like, the coven leaders, not all of them, so we had the main leaders, and then, like, we had other adults in there too. They had set up checkpoints throughout the hike where we would, like, go talk to them, hear their spiel, reflect, see what they're seeing, you know? Mm-hmm. And we continue on the hike. Such a great hike, okay? So I was grouped up with these 2 boys. They freaking ditched me. I'm a 8, 9-year-old kid, and I am left in the wilderness by these older boys, and I'm just, like, going along the trail because I'm alone and I need to find somebody.
Asshole.
Okay? I know. But, like, fortunately, I felt safe enough, and I knew people were around, and the trail was very obviously marked. You know, so I just knew that I had to follow the trail and everything, and I would be fine. So at one point, though, I really had to pee. I had to pee so badly, but I was too afraid to, like, take down my pants and pop a squat, you know. But so I just peed my pants.
Aww.
There on the trail, you know, because I was afraid. I really was. I was like, something's going to come out and bite my butt if I go and pop squat, you know. I'm like, I'm not about to, like, die from a rattlesnake bite. I mean, again, I'm my kid. I was also thinking that a cat was going to come up and bite my butt cheek, you know, if I decided to.
One of those devils.
Yeah. So I just pee.
Mama, the devil bit me.
Yeah. And then I continue on. And then, I remember finding George in his little area. And then I'm leaning up against a rock and he's talking because at this point it's kind of down by the creek at the Devil's Punch Bowl. And, you know, he's talking. And then I, step away from the rock and there's a wet mark. There's a wet spot. Oh. And he was like, oh, it seems like you're wet there. And I was like, yeah, I kind of got wet. You know, there's water around.
Yeah.
He probably didn't believe me. I don't know. But no. I just continued on. The trail all by myself. And when I look back and I'm like, why wasn't he concerned that I was all alone? Like, he knew that I was supposed to be with the group.
Well, he probably knew the area and he knew you were safe, but it's so much bigger and scarier to you as a child, so...
Yeah, it was. But yeah, I continued on and stopped at the stops, and there's actually this really incredible natural formation of the rock face on the way up from the bowl, because, like, it's a bowl, so you hike down into the bowl, and then you hike back up. And this mountain face... Again, natural formations, to me, when I look at it, it looks like Hades and Persephone. Like, I see a devil with devil horns, and I see a woman's profile with long hair, you know? And that's what it was pointed out when they're like, oh, what do you see here? And then I was like, oh, this is what I see. And they're like, wow, yeah, that's what you know, that's what I see too, sort of thing. Awesome. I could send you a picture so you can post it on the Facebook group.
Yes.
Yeah, so that was really cool what we did. And I still, to this day, love going to that hike. I go on that hike quite often with my husband and my son.
Did you guys ever forage for stuff?
No, we can't really take anything. It's a national park, so you can't take anything from there. You know, Adam, my husband, did propose to me there at the base of one of the waterfalls.
Do you have pictures?
I would have to find them. They were on an old camera and it was like damaged.
Oh.
Yeah. But it's really, I love the hike. And now with all the rain we've been getting in California, but the water's great.
Well, if we can ever visit you, I definitely want to go on that hike.
Yeah, you should definitely. It's great.
All about being in nature. That's where I'm headed. Right after this, I'm going to go out into the woods and stay there.
Nice. Lucky.
Yeah. What other holidays?
Okay, then I talked about Beltane already, and that one, I'm sure you've heard about a maypole.
Wait, Beltane was...
The one about making babies. Or growing fruits and vegetables.
Yeah. Okay.
So there was a maypole sometimes that we would do, and that one was always cool because, you know, we all have a hold of a ribbon, and boys go one way, girls go the other way. So that was always cool.
That would be fun.
Yeah, and then there was one year they even set up this giant maze for us, and there was people playing characters like Pan. Yeah.
So how did they make the maze? Like, what were the walls?
They put up like thick dowels and connected sheets. Like, sewed sheets to them, essentially, and just, like, slipped them on that way.
That would be so awesome.
Yeah, it was like a Midsummer Night's Dream theme.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
This just sounds wonderful.
Yeah, it's really great. And then, of course, you have your celebrations around the solstice, all of the solstices and equinoxes and stuff. But that's the gist of it.
No. You forgot my favorite holiday. What did you do at Halloween?
Oh, Samhain.
Samhain, yes.
Yeah. I love Halloween too. I have no problem with me. I call it Halloween on the daily. Sometimes when I'm watching like shows or hearing people talk about it and they say Samhain, I'm like, what the heck? Because that's how it's spelled. It's spelled like you would call it Samhain, but it's not. It's Samhain. So that one.
And what are you celebrating? Is it the same thing? Like you're getting rid of the bad spirits that are coming out, dressing up to scare them away?
Now, I'm going to be honest, that part I don't remember about, like, if we're dressing up to scare them away. But what I do remember is the idea that the veil was thinnest during that time between, like, like spirits in the living. And it was just a nice sort of like a pause. Like you would just pause and reflect on those who we've loved and lost. And like I said, this is the one holiday, even though it's like the best holiday, that I don't have many memories of doing rituals and stuff during that time. But I do remember that there were things, and it was always kind of like, I don't want to say solemn, but it was very like serious, but also after the serious, have fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And
was there anything remotely similar to trick-or-treating?
No.
Nothing like that. Oh, okay.
No.
For that matter, Easter time, or what was that called?
Ostara,
yes. Was there anything kind of like looking for eggs or looking for something?
Yeah, we would look for eggs. We would do that.
Okay. Yeah, well, I mean, that's nature.
Yeah, and they're like,
And
why do we have
fertility.
bunnies and eggs? Yeah, exactly. Eggs, fertility. Bunnies, those things make babies like crazy.
Oh my gosh, that's where it came from. That is freaking fantastic. Oh my
yeah.
Now,
there was
that's
another
great.
thing I was going to say.
Okay. I can't get over that.
Yeah. I did want to share one more thing about like a funny memory that I had while doing a ritual, and it had to do with my safe adult George. I remember one time, he was like kind of waiting his turn to like say his part, and apparently he had farted because like, okay. All right, so I need a little bit backstory. The people who are participating in the ritual, not like, all the people in the circle, but the people who have words to say and actions to do, they will wear robes. Okay?
Okay.
So it's pretty much just like a long dress, essentially. Okay, a long ass tunic. So anyway, a long ass tunic, and it's belted at the waist. They have like a cord that they would belt it with. Anyway.
So like a monk.
Yeah, like a monk. Yeah. So he had farted because I looked over at him. I didn't hear, I didn't smell it, but he grabbed his collar and kind of like fanned it a little bit, and he goes, and his nose like wrinkled up, and he went oof, and like his eyeballs squinted, and I just saw him like mouth oof.
The things you remember.
I know, it's like such a random thing. Like he just grabbed his collar, fanned it a little bit, and said oof with a scrunched up nose and eyes.
Oh, George.
I know. Oh, George.
Man, I kind of wish you would be able to reconnect with him.
I still have him on Facebook.
And let him know just how important he was to you,
Yeah.
how he made you feel safe,
Yeah, I mean, I could always, I have the opportunity to do that because I still have a connection with him on Facebook at least.
He'd probably really appreciate that.
Yeah, I could see that. Also, side note, but still kind of having to do with George. George has a son named Tyler, and ever since I was like 2 or 3 years old, I was like, I'm gonna marry Tyler when I grow up. Like, I had the biggest like crush on this child. I mean, he was a little older than me, forever, but nothing romantic ever happened between me and Tyler, though I did trust him a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Like, we even had, like, a Valentine's Day friend date together.
Aww.
Where, like, he made me...
Valentine's Day. I'm sorry. Tell me about that, and then I want to know Valentine's Day.
I don't recall anything for Valentine's Day. I'm sure there was something for the adults. But
you're like, no, we had a whole thing about fertility. We don't need Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
But what did he make you?
He made me like rosemary chicken. It was really good. He's a really good chef. And then he gave me a massage, right? And then again, this is how I'm just explaining how I felt safe with him.
How old were you?
At this time, I think I was like 16 and he was like 18. I believe around that age. Well, anyway, so I went over to his house and then he gave me a back massage, and I'm going to just tell you, and I'm sorry, mother, parents, or whoever's listening, it was a shirtless back massage, where I took off my shirt, he massaged my back, and he got my legs down. Like, it was legit, like if I went to a spa to get a massage, and he did not try to go for a feel, he did not grope, he did not linger on any spots, nothing. And then, once the massage was done, put my shirt back on, we watched a movie or something. I can't remember what we did after that, but we just hung out. It was great. Like, he made me like a friend Valentine's Day Dang.
Okay, so speaking of that, I'm going to take my headphones off and just very quickly take my shirt off because I am burning up. I'm in this closet because it's better for acoustics or non-acoustics or whatever the fuck. But our air conditioner up here is broken, and it happens to be hot out of nowhere. It's just hot all of a sudden. So
maybe it's that solar wind coming from the sun.
I was so freaked out when I texted you that, and then I read the article afterwards, and I was like, oh, it's normal. Hold on one second.
Okay.
Oh my god, that's so much better.
Mm-hmm.
But speaking of nudity, was that ever a thing in the group?
Okay. Again, I'm going to tell you my perspectives were from a child, not from an adult. Unfortunately, I never got to be an adult in the coven. But yes, I do know there were rituals that the adults participated in where they were nude.
Okay.
And usually those were the I don't know if it was just these rituals, but they were initiation rituals. So,
do you know if it involved sex, or was it just like, you're just in your natural form nature gave you?
I think the official ritual, it was just like, here's your natural form. We accept you as you are. You accept us as we are, type of thing, like bearing your soul to each other. But I 100% know some coven members were getting down and dirty on the DL.
On the DL, not during the ritual.
Yeah, I am sure that the coven members, like the adults, I am sure they had orgies at some point.
Why not?
Because they were all too close. I feel like sometimes when I look back on it and I'm like, dude, they were probably just a big polyamorous polycule,
Polycule.
But we never,
I love that.
Yeah, I'm sure it was. I'm sure there was some sort of connections, but the kids were not exposed to that. And the only reason why I do know that some things went down is because my mom told me when I was an adult, and then so did my dad told me some things. Yeah.
Well, there you go.
And yeah, so I never knew about that as a kid, and I only found out about that when I became an adult. And I asked about it.
And whoever is out there listening and is prude and icky about it, get over yourself.
Mm-hmm.
They're consenting adults, and it's nature, man. Sex is natural.
Yeah, I totally am for the polyamorous lifestyle if that's what you want to do, honestly.
For anyone that's like, oh no, you can never go against monogamous marriage, blah, blah, blah. If it's consensual and there's no issue with it and everybody's happy, why the fuck not? Okay?
Exactly.
Get over yourself.
Why not? Because I'm like, I guess loving somebody else wouldn't take away the love that I have.
Right. Why?
For the parent, yeah.
Why? Yeah. Put out that light of love. All it is sharing a fondness for each other.
Yeah.
Even if it's not like love, it's still just like a fondness for each other. Like, why snuff that light out?
Exactly. And that's when I think about like how I felt about George, how he was kind of like a parental figure to me, even though he wasn't a parent. But you know what? Maybe him and my mom were getting down and dirty in the sheets too. I don't know. Maybe that's why, I felt so safe with him. Maybe I'm forgetting a memory, Because mind you, like I said, this was when I was a kid up until when I was about mid to later teens. And now I'm a 30-year-old woman, so it's been a minute.
Whatever it is, it doesn't matter. You have these beautiful memories, and it made you feel safe and loved at a time when you didn't feel that in your own home. So I think it's beautiful.
Yeah. And it was sort of like heartbreaking, I guess, whenever it's like for me, whenever it kind of got disbanded. I
can only imagine.
The group members left. So yeah, that's I'm like I have a lot of fond memories of that time in my life, and I do wish I was able to was able to grow into an adult in that environment and just like really see. Maybe my experiences are seen through rose-colored glasses. Maybe my experiences are jaded and I don't remember a lot, or you know what? I don't remember any of that at all. I just remember the safety, I remember the happiness, and I obviously have remembered the lessons that I've learned about that, and I carry it with me as an adult.
I think if there were bad or unsafe times, even if you didn't remember them, I feel like you would not have such a strong memory of feeling safe.
Yeah, probably.
So I truly believe that you did feel safe, and that's the most important thing.
Yeah. And honestly, if anybody out here is listening that happened to know what coven I'm talking about or whatever, and you know something did happen bad, don't tell me. Please don't ruin my memories of what I know. Because
if you do know of that coven or you are a part of it, email us at witchinandwinin.com, and that's WITCH. What did I say, @.com?
Yeah, @.com.
WITCHNANDWINEN @gmail.com.
Bravo.
Thank you very much. Oh, man. Yeah, but yeah, reach out to her. If you know about that coven, if you were part of that coven, reach out to her, man.
Mm-hmm. Please. But again, don't ruin my jaded rose-colored glasses memories.
Yeah, don't be a dick.
Of like the times that I felt happy when I was a kid. But anyway, Crystal, I know you had some stories come up that come about the witch trials, right?
Well, it's not the Salem witch trials. It's something else that everyone probably has heard about, and the story is kind of familiar to me, but honestly, I feel like I have never heard of it before, which is strange because apparently it's like one of the most famous stories. Because if this had not happened, the Salem witch trials might not have happened. Tonight, I'll share with you the true story of the Pendle Witches. The events took place in the 17th century, in 1612, when 12 people were accused of murdering 10 people by use of witchcraft. And that I'm confused about because my sources, that's what they said. 12 were accused, 10 of murdering 10 people. But as the story unfolds, it's a little different, but maybe most likely I'm missing details, because it was in 1600s. Of the 12 accused people, 6 came from 2 families. And these are the most important families in the story. The Demdike family and the Chaddocks family. The Demdike family was headed by Elizabeth Southerns, also known as, and what I will call her throughout this story, Old Demdike. And the Chaddocks family was headed by Anne Whittle, also known as Mother Chaddocks. The families had been rivals ever since a member of the Chaddocks family broke into the Demdike family and robbed them of goods equaling to about £100 in today's money. So during this day and age, witches weren't so much as seen as evil. Yes, they were feared, but people were also fascinated by them. They were known to be healers, dealing with herbs and magic for medicinal purposes and other things they could use to help people in their villages. It was King James who was the first to spread the hatred of witches. He wrote a book called Daemonology and instructed his readers to condemn and prosecute practitioners and supporters of witchcraft. And his views became law. The Demdike and Chaddocks families lived in Lancashire. Old Demdike had been, for the better part of 50 years, known to the village to be a witch. It was an accepted practice to be a village healer. However, things changed in 1612. Lancashire was seen by others as a lawless place with wild people that sympathized with the Catholic Church. because back then, being Catholic or sympathizing with Catholics was a no-no.
Mm-hmm.
So, therefore, in 1612, each Justice of the Peace in Lancashire was instructed to compile a list of those who refused communion or refused to attend the church. So now, dear listeners, we know the mindset of those in 1612. Let's get to the nitty-gritty of the story. Ellen Device was traveling along a road in Trodden Forest. It is not for certain whether she was traveling this road as a beggar to passerbys, but as she passed by John Law, that is what she did. Ellen asked John for some pence, which I assume is what money was back then. I'm not sure. John refused to give her anything. Shortly after this exchange, John Law suffered a stroke. Of course, he blamed Ellen for this misfortune. John brought the incident before Justice Knoll, claiming Ellen had cursed him. When accused, Ellen confessed that her familiar spirit came to her in dog form and asked if she wanted John harmed, and that she told the devil to lame John Law. Ellen then accused her own grandmother, Old Demdike, as well as members of the Chattox family of witchcraft. Yes, the entire village knew of Old Demdike, and as far as the Chattox family goes, it's likely that she was taking revenge for when a member of their family had robbed their family, had robbed the Demdike family. So familiar spirits, I just want to stop and ask, did you guys believe in familiars?
Yeah, I actually had a familiar at a very young age. His name was Onyx. I know this is going to sound so cliche, but he was a black cat.
Ooh.
My mom found him, she told me she found him in a desert, and I had been asking for a cat for a long time. And so she picked up this little black kitten and brought him home. And I remember whenever she brought him home, she was like, Miranda, have you been good? Like, have you been a good girl or something like that? And I was like, what? Yeah. And then I look at her shirt and there's like something moving under her shirt. And I just knew, I was like, you got me a kitten?
Aww.
It's like, I just knew, like, it was not even like a beat, I saw the movement under her shirt and I knew it was a kitten. And then she was like, yeah.
You felt a connection. It's not like every animal you have is your familiar. It's a strong bond, a connection.
Yeah, exactly. And this cat, he was definitely my cat, my, like I saw him, like, it's like we connected, and he was, cats have notoriously, like, they're not really social animals with humans unless they want something, but he absolutely adored me. I adored him. He would come when I called. Again, like, he was an outdoor-indoor cat, right? Mm-hmm. And if I put my head outdoor because it was nighttime and it was time for bed, I'd be like, Vaughn, it's bedtime. Come on in, kitty. And then, like, maybe 3 minutes later, he would come, like, I never knew where he was, but a few minutes later, he would come trotting up and get ready for bed, and then we would go to sleep. We would go to bed, It's like, sometimes I'm like, how does he hear me? Because I knew that sometimes he would go down the street. He wasn't, like, always within earshot. Yes. This cat lived to be, like, 20 years old.
Oh my gosh.
Which is really old for a cat, specifically even an indoor cat. This cat even lost part of his tail. A part of his tail friggin' fell off.
Oh my
and he
gosh.
survived that. Yeah, he survived any potential infection, and if you call me a creepy or not here, I don't care, but I have his ashes still, and I have his giant paw print.
Heck yeah.
I have his giant paw print, and his paw print, like, maybe I'll take a picture of the paw print too, send it to you so you could upload it. Massive freaking paw print. Does not look like a paw print of a cat at all. So it would just give you a kind of an indication of what Onyx, looked like.
I definitely want to see that.
Yeah, so I haven't, unfortunately, had a familiar since, even though I've had many, many animals since him. Though the closest I have been feeling is my new dog, my little dingy pup.
Is that the one with bad breath?
No, my son was saying Vale had bad breath. And he is yeah, I'm feeling something with him. I feel, and even though like I have 2 cats, Ursula and Gwen, they're great cats, but I don't feel that same sort of like.
Oh, I
full,
know
yeah.
you love your animals. You are.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just like you love your animals and you would, lay down your life for them. It's more than that.
Yeah, it is more than that. It really is a connection.
I've definitely had those connections.
Mm-hmm.
I've had pets my whole life, and I had a cat named Picasso. I only spoke to him in French. He was my everything. He would, anytime, I moved back and forth between Arkansas and New Mexico my whole life because my parents were separated, and I would just go back and forth all the time. And every time I would go to Arkansas, my mom would say that he would just disappear and she would never ever see him. But the second, it could be a year or more, but the second I would pull up in whatever car, it didn't matter if it was a different car, the second I would pull up, he would come running straight to me. And all of a sudden, we would have him back. And that was my cat, man. And then I had a cat named Green Bean. After Picasso died, it was Green Bean. And he was Green Bean because I knew this kid. He's probably a freaking sociopath. Or his brother was. He was a friend of mine. And he said, hey, my older brother's about to drown this cat for fun with his friends.
Oh my God.
Can I bring it to you? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. So I was like in 8th grade. So he brought this cat to me. It was an all black cat with these bright green eyes, like electrifyingly green.
Mm-hmm.
And it was this little kitten. And he was sitting next to me on the couch. I had a plate full of food, tons of like meat and everything on there, potatoes, whatever. And he just reached over and grabbed Green Bean and brought it to his mouth and ate it. And then he just kept reaching over and he just kept eating the green beans. And anytime I ever had green beans on my plate, he would completely ignore the meat, didn't care. He just wanted green beans. And his eyes were so green. So his name was Green Bean.
That's so cute.
And so he was my little dude. And now it's my dog Tedward. Tedward Theodore Bear. And he just had a birthday and he's 15 and can barely stand. Sometimes he can't. He can't hear. He can't see. But he is the love of my life. And he is my soulmate son.
Oh. Yeah, like we really do. There is sometimes just special connections between people and pets, and yeah, I love it. My cat, just go on a little tangent here in a second. I'm sorry, but you know how cats like to bring you gifts? Oh my God, Onyx! I remember one traumatizing moment. I was laying on the floor with him, and I was wearing like a baggy like nighttime shirt, right? I was laying on the floor, and he would like to go under my shirt and just like snuggle up, right?
Yeah.
So laying on the floor, and I feel him snuggle up in my back, right? Because I'm laying on the floor, and how many times I'm going to say laying on the floor? Anyway.
4? 3?
Yeah. Anyway, he crawls up into my shirt like normal, and then cool, yeah. We're hanging out there for a little bit, and then he decides to leave, but then I felt movement still in my shirt. And then I stood up because like, what is that? I went to feel it, and then I'm like, oh my God, it's a mouse. Not only was it a mouse, it was a mouse that was in half, and it had its like entrails hanging out, and it was still partly alive. Yes, and it was like kind of dried onto my back too. I'm like, what?
I'm going to have nightmares.
I mean, I'm like, thank you, Onyx. I love you too. I mean, it didn't really traumatize me too much. I was just like, oh, gross, you know. But when I think about it, I'm just like, God.
I would be traumatized. I love mice. Give me a mouse. Give me a rat. I will cuddle them, give them kisses, blah, blah, blah. But something about a wild rat coming into my house, I literally turn into one of those people that jump on their sofa and like kick and scream and they're like, mouse. That's me.
I think we were used to it, bringing in animals. Like we had another cat named Morpheus, and yeah, he was a hunter. Okay, he took down a barn owl too.
That's how Miss Cleo is.
Yeah, so he would often bring in
a barn
animals.
owl. Wait, what?
Yeah. Yep, this cat took down a barn owl.
Dang.
Yeah.
Miss Cleo takes down like these giant I don't know if they're kangaroo rats. I don't even know if we have those here, but I swear to God, they are so big that they look like baby kangaroos. And because we live next to we live on a golf course and big fields and everything, so there are mice running around outside. And she'll take these things down. They look like baby kangaroos. Even their feet are long, like freaking kangaroo babes. And,
interesting.
And Miss Cleo is tiny. I call her my forever kitten. She fits in like my hands, she's just the tiniest thing. But she is a hunter. And one time she chased or put, I don't know, one of those fucking kangaroo rats in our cushions of our couch. And I didn't know. And then there was a weird smell in the house. And then it smelled worse.
No.
And then it smelled worse until I was like, there is something dead in here. I used to work with dead people. I used to do their makeup and fix their boo-boos. I know that smell. And sure enough, there was a giant dead rat in my couch.
No.
And I am still traumatized by that. And I screamed and I called everybody on my call list to see who can come and get this thing. And then I poured bleach, literally poured it all over my couch.
Did you keep the couch?
Yes, it was freaking, I wouldn't, but we had it specially, fabricked. What the fuck is that called?
Upholstery?
Thanks. We had it specially upholstered with special fabric from Lazy Boy. So it was and brand new. So it was too expensive to just give up.
How did the bleach pouring help it?
Well, I mean, it's a light gray color, so it just made it nice and clean.
Okay.
But it's a fold out bed. And so I had to scrub the hell out of all of that. But bleach, baby. Bleach. My best friend. Okay. All this tangent we went on.
I know. Anyway, back to your story.
Jesus. Okay. Where the hell was I even? Alright, so where we are right now is Ellen Device, which is part of the Dimdyke family.
Dimdyke.
Yes. She was walking along the road to Trodden Forest. She was begging, supposedly, asked John Law for some whatever. He said no. He had a stroke. He blamed her for it, took it to Justice Knoll, saying that she had cursed him. Allison confessed and said that her familiar spirit came to her in dog form and offered to take care of this fucker. Then she accused her grandmother, Old Dimdyke, and other members of the Chaddix family of witchcraft. And that's where we're at. So, with this new accusation, deaths that had occurred in the past came into question, because all of a sudden they're like, did these people over here die of natural or whatever, or did somebody curse them? So, the past deaths of 4 other villagers were now thought to be caused by Chaddix. Allison's own father had, while on his deathbed, once accused Mother Chaddix of causing his illness. More accusations were soon made. Allison's brother, James, accused Allison herself of previously cursing a local child. Allison's mother, Elizabeth, claimed that her mother, Old Dimdyke, had a mark on her body where the devil had sucked her blood, leaving her mad. And for anyone that's confused with all these names, I'm going to post on our Facebook page, which is just Witchin' and Whinin'. I'm going to post a graph of the family tree, and really, once you look at that thing, this is not hard to follow. Because, trust me, at first I was like, who? What? Huh? All right, so after further questioning, Old Demdike and Chattox both confessed to selling their souls. With all of these accusations and confessions, in my mind, most likely given out of fear, suspicions rose against others.
Makes me wonder why they would confess if they knew that
I feel like
it was going to be...
It's just like a false confession in today's standards. When people are
like, were they tortured or
they're
something?
broken down so hard, they feel like if they finally confess, it'll be over. Well, they're not in a room with one or two detectives questioning them back then, they're there with everybody yelling at them and screaming at them and making comments and throwing stuff at them or whatever, so it probably moves along a little faster to them getting to the point of, hey, maybe if I confess, it'll stop.
Yeah, I can see that, because I know we've already discovered, like, historically speaking, that many confessions are done forcibly like that.
Yes.
So
suspicion began to rise against other people. For instance, Anne Redfern. She was Mother Chattox's daughter. Anne had a hobby of creating clay figures. When hearing of this, the judge detained Anne, as well as Alazan, Old Demdike, and Mother Chattox, to await for trial. It was then that James Device, Alison's brother, held a meeting at the Demdike house. I'm not sure the exact purpose of this meeting, but I assume it was to brainstorm how to free his family. For this meeting, James had acquired a sheep. Again, I'm left curious. I can only imagine he stole the sheep from his neighbor to acquire a meal for those in the meeting. However, the villagers of 1612 Lancashire likely thought a stolen sheep plus a secret meeting equaled witchcraft. Whatever the circumstances, when the judge heard of this, another 8 people were detained for questioning and later to be tried. By the end of April, 19 people were arrested and sent to Lancashire Castle, where they would await for their trial. On the first day of the trial, Alison's mother, Elizabeth Device, was accused of 3 counts of murder. Her son James was accused of 2, while Alison was to stand trial for what she had done to John Law 5 months before. Elizabeth defended herself and denied the accusations. However, Alison's sister, which is most important in this story, Alison's sister, Jennet, spoke against their mother, Elizabeth. Jennet stated that she witnessed her mother's familiar spirit appear as a brown dog, and that her mother planned to kill various members of the community. Jennet also spoke of the meeting her brother had held at their home. She said it was a meeting for witchcraft, naming her mother, brother, and other members of the community as attendees of the meeting. Jennet continued to say there were plots to blow up the castle and kill the governor to free those that had been imprisoned. Elizabeth, because of her 9-year-old daughter's testimony, Jennet was found guilty. As for Jennet speaking against her family, it is said that Jennet was the illegitimate child of the family. She did not have a father, so it's said that Jennet spoke out against the family because she felt isolated from them. She had a grudge. Alison spoke out simply because she believed the witchcraft's power her family had was real. A parish constable took Jennet's brother, James Device, to the meeting location, so their home, the Demdike home, where James unearthed a wax figure and some teeth. These were considered evidence of the supposed witchcraft that occurred there. Although, I think it's likely the figure was an arts and crafts project and the teeth were the children's baby teeth that were kept by their mother. But to each their own.
Yeah. I mean, I still have my kids' baby teeth.
Right? So,
definitely not doing witchcraft with them. They're just in a bag.
No, but you're a witch, so you're evil. So basically what they're doing is, if you're into arts and crafts or scrapbooking and keeping memories, you need to burn.
Yeah, because we can't have no women remembering things. Can't have them bring it up against us.
Oh, hell no. Jennet also said that there were witches at the meeting riding on flying ponies. She said her brother James had been a witch for 3 years and she had seen his familiar spirit kill people. Jennet accused other people as well. This is crazy. The court set up identity parades. Their version of our criminal lineup. Jennet looked down the line of people and picked out who were witches. Mother Chattox's daughter, Anne Redfern, the one that made the little figurines out of clay, she had already been acquitted of murder. But as the identity parade commenced, Jennet identified Anne Redfern as a witch. As for Alison's trial, John Law had forgiven her. However, because Alison was unable to cure him, she was found guilty. Old Dimdyke didn't make it to the trial. She died in the dank dungeons where the accused were kept. On August 20th, 1612, 10 people, including all of Jennet's family and some of her neighbors, were taken to the gallows hill and hanged. The 10 that were hanged were Anne Whittle, Anne Redfern, Elizabeth Device, Alice Nutter, Alison Device, James Device, Catherine Hewitt, Jane Bulcock, John Bulcock, and Isabel Roby. The story doesn't quite end there because karma is a bitch. More than 20 years after this tragedy in 1633, Edmund Robinson accused Jennet and 16 others of witchcraft. Jennet was accused of killing Isabel, wife of William Nutter. All of the accused were found guilty. However, physical evidence was demanded. Eventually, Edmund admitted to lying. So Jennet was acquitted, but she was not allowed to leave Lancaster Castle until she paid for her stay at the castle during the trial. There is no known record of Jennet Device after 1636. I don't know what happened to her. And what makes this case most fascinating is that Jennet might be the very reason why the Salem witch trials was as bonkers as it was.
Wow, she set the precedent.
Exactly. Before Jennet, children were not permitted to give legal testimony in court. Jennet paved the way for this to be an acceptable practice. Therefore, during the trials in Salem, many accusations and testimonies were given by children that led to many deaths. And that, our dear listeners, concludes my story.
I like it. I had never heard of that either. I haven't heard of that at all. Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, it was very fascinating. And also, when you really think about it, simultaneously heartbreaking.
Right? And what the fuck, Janet?
Yeah. I mean, it's like you'll never know someone's motivations, for doing something. But, things like this just really makes me want to just want to know things. They need to be held accountable.
Yes.
And, yeah, so, I mean, obviously, when you're responsible for, that much, I don't know. It's just sad. And then when you do think about the witch trials anywhere.
And it's not like she didn't know that she was having these people killed off.
Yeah, she knew. Sometimes when I really think about the afterlife or things, I'm I wonder if there's ever any, I guess, remorse for certain things or certain people, when they
That's a good
realize,
question.
like, oh, wow, yeah.
Speaking of which, what did your coven believe the afterlife was like? I know in the past you said that they believe that they could choose to move on to a new life here, kind of like in our past lives episode. I'm just curious, like, what were the beliefs?
That was the belief. Like, we get to choose what we want to do afterwards. We could choose, do we want to be reborn? Do we want to go to, like, heaven or live nice? Do we want to be a spirit guide? Do we want to be, like, we just literally had control over our afterlife. And you know what? That aligns with some of the ideas and beliefs that I'm seeing people have on TikTok. You know how, I know we briefly talked about this before, but about how before this life and after it, we get to, like, review how our life went, decide what we want to do, and then choose our path, It aligns with that. So that's what I believe, what I've always believed.
Reincarnation.
Like, yeah. Or, like I said, you can just choose to exist out your days in your heaven. And
so, yeah, that's what I was going to say. So, did y'all believe in, like, that there was a heaven or a hell?
Not so much a hell that, what Christians believe in, like, where you go there to be, like, punished or whatever. Yeah, tortured. But, like, an underworld we believed in, but the underworld isn't, like, an evil place because, it's just what it is.
What was it like, the underworld?
Obviously, like, spirits, maybe confused spirits, or
so just kind of just need to doomed to be there and think about what happened.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't recall much information on that. I just know that it wasn't the typical belief of, you're going there.
Do you remember if they were able to ever leave the underworld? Like, if they came to a realization, or?
Yeah. Because obviously, we definitely believed in, like, Persephone and Hades is obviously the ruler of the underworld, so it's just a different part of the world, a different part of nature, Things die and need to be reborn, or, that sort of thing. Like, it's just there. And that kind of, like, is comforting to me, thinking that you can just decide, like, what happens. But also at the same time, I was like, I wish I could remember, past lives.
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
And it would help you grow as a person.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I get the idea behind, like, not knowing what happened prior, so you can have, authentic, natural, unassisted experiences. But sometimes I'm just like, man, I feel like I was definitely a man a few times in my past life. Faux show.
I think I probably was, at least once or twice.
Oh, yeah, I could see that too.
Yeah, baby.
But yeah, so it is making me feel better. And then, of course, with the experiences that I've already shared on a previous episode about, like, my grandma and all the other things too. So those kind of things might be scary to some people, like, oh, ghosts, this is moving. But it actually makes me feel more comforted. Like, okay, it doesn't just end.
Whatever you believe, or if you believe in nothing because you're not sure, you can find comfort in knowing that whatever happens is a natural process. So whatever happens to you, it's a natural thing, and something that happens naturally isn't going to damn you forever.
Yeah, exactly.
And despite what any religion out there thinks, I don't think that somebody would be damned to a place for all eternity for their misdoings during their life. What kind of horrible being would do that to somebody? Yeah. Everybody makes mistakes. And yes, there are horrible people out there. Horrible people. But if some being is making you, we know that these horrible people, like sociopaths, they were
Mhm.
literally born that way. Their brains are scientifically built that way to not be able to feel emotion. Why would somebody create something like that and then be like, oh, you can't feel emotion or empathy and you acted on it like this? I'm going to damn you forever. That makes no sense.
Yeah.
I just don't believe that.
Mhm.
All right.
All right.
Let's wrap it up. I've
Yeah.
got to get to the middle of nowhere and chill out in the middle of the woods because that's what I need right now.
Okay, so if you enjoyed this episode, please give us a like, maybe even that subscribe. That would be amazing.
Yes.
And as
please.
always, if you have any stories to share or have any questions, email us at witchinandwinin@gmail.com. That's WITCHN
ANDWINEN@gmail.com. And email us your stories, people, whatever it is, whatever you think it is. Anything weird, awkward, taboo, witchy. We want to hear it. We want to share it. Check out our Facebook as well. We don't have a lot on there right now. Obviously, we're just starting out. But we do have some things posted from past episodes. And I do plan on posting from this episode. What were you saying you wanted to share with us, Miranda?
A picture of that rock face at the Devil's Punch Bowl. Yes. And a picture of my cat's paw print.
Yes. And also the family tree to tonight's story, the Pendle Witches, a family tree for the Demdikes and the Chaddocks family. So
yeah.
So we do post stuff that goes along with what we're talking about that could help you out a little bit or give you some insight. So check out Witchin' and Winin' on Facebook.
Thanks, guys. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Kids are creepy.